Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to call this meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Natchez to order. Before we actually begin and have our prayer, Alderwoman Hall has an announcement. I would like for her to make some sad news to share.
I'd just like to ask if we would keep in our prayers when we pray the families of Reverend John Scott Jr. His wife died suddenly over the weekend from the Hughes Scott, and also for the Washington Scott families who lost a loved one tragically yesterday in another shooting. So thank you very much.
Goodness. Thank you. Thank you, Alderwoman. Let us now join together in prayer to be followed by our pledge. Let us pray. Father, we come to you this morning with heavy hearts. Father, we just lift up the Scott family to you, Reverend Scott, and the children, grandchildren. Mrs. Scott was such a beloved pillar of our community. And we just pray your comfort over them, over their families, and over the Washington family, Father. Father, we do mourn the loss of those others that we have lost to violence in our community. Father, we know that with you we have eternal life, but at the same time, Father, we know that it's in these times that our hearts are burdened. And we've definitely said goodbye to too many over the last few days, including Edwin Green Jr., Mike Gimmel, and others. And so, Father, we just ask that you would put your arms of comfort, grace, and protection around the city of Natchez, around these, our friends, loved ones. And let us be mindful that, as your word says in Lamentations, your mercies are new each and every morning. Now, Father, be with us in this meeting. Let the words of our hearts, let them be pleasing to you. The things that we do, the deliberations, the actions we take, let them be in the best interest of our city. And may your spirit reign. In your precious name, in the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Mr. Mayor, I need to add the
Yes,
Mitchell.
Alderwoman.
I need to add the Mitchell family to this also, because Jamie Mitchell is the one who was killed yesterday.
Well, we'll certainly continue to keep them in our prayers as well. Thank you, Alderwoman. Let us now repeat together our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, if you will please lead us in the roll call.
Okay, Alderwoman Hall.
Here.
Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderwoman Irving. Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Maroney.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all are present and accounted for with the exception of Alderwoman Irving.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you. I want to apologize to everyone, by the way, for my sunburn. I know I'm looking about as red as the tie. Should have put on my sunscreen yesterday. We had some great veterans events, and we'll talk about that in just a minute because we do have a presentation to make. First of all, approval of minutes, Madam Clerk.
Yes, we have two sets of minutes for approval. The first being the October 22nd regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Thank you. Next set of minutes is the November 5th special call meeting.
It's the pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. At this time, I have a special presentation to make. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and we give honor to all of our veterans, all who served, including two gentlemen who are here as aldermen, Alderman Frazier, also Alderman Davis. Thank you. We salute you. Thank you for your service
Thank you.
to our country. We also have others who I know are here We would like to ask all of our veterans at this time to please stand so that we can recognize you. We appreciate all of you and happy Veterans Day. Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask Ben Tucker if he would come forward. And I would also like to ask Larry Smith, Lieutenant Colonel retired Larry Smith, to come up. And we have a special presentation to make. Actually, just yesterday, as we were celebrating Veterans Day, we had some great events. We had a parade. We had a great event at the school. We had a dedication of a bench at Memorial Park in honor of naval veteran Stephen Wilson. We also honored Martin Francis as our Veteran of the Year, Patriot of the Year. It was a posthumously awarded recognition, and we were so grateful that his widow, Judge Eileen Marr, was there to receive it. We also gave an award to the Patriot Veteran of the Millennia, Captain John Kerwin, who is our only, to our knowledge, our only surviving World War II veteran in our community. Yesterday also, we were so blessed to have First Sergeant Ben Tucker as our Grand Marshal of our parade. And it was a pleasure also, Sergeant, to sit next to you at the ceremonies at Natchez High School when we had the Veterans Day program there. I feel that it's fit that we give you a special award today, because as we've studied your life and your years of service, it really stands out. And I'm very grateful to Larry Smith for bringing some of this to my attention, because Larry has stepped in as the new chairman of the Mayor's Veterans Task Force. And we're so grateful for your leadership, also, Colonel, in making sure yesterday went smoothly. And I know Martin Francis was smiling down. And so I'm going to now make this presentation with your assistance, a certificate of recognition in recognition of his 35 years of service to the United States Army, beginning many years ago as a paratrooper in Italy, and including service during both Operation Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom. We are pleased to honor one of our own, First Sergeant Ben Tucker. His service to country and community has been exemplary. Even now in his retirement, serving as chairman of Home with Heroes and deputy commander of the Natchez VFW Post 9573. He has also served for many years as a caretaker at the Natchez National Cemetery, tending the graves of countless military heroes who have served our country. We thank him for his patriotism, his love for others, and his example of Natchez Strong. So Ben Tucker, U.S. Army veteran, our 2024 Veterans Day Parade Grand Marshal. We say thank you.
Thanks, sir.
And we say thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna get on this side of you. We're going to come on over here to the center and get a picture. I'll invite anyone who would like to come. Our veteran, why don't we have our veteran alderman come?
We'll just shake your hand. We'll get rid of it. Thank you, sir.
Sergeant Tucker, anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'd like to say a few words. First of all, giving thanks to the Almighty God for the things that I've been able to do in my lifetime. It's been a pleasure to serve. I'd like to thank the mayor, the city of Natchez, all of his staff, and everyone that went into making this happen right here. You know, just yesterday, I served, as you just said, as the Grand Marshal, and I understand the Grand Marshal, and I Googled this right here. Grand Marshal is the face of an event. So this award that I'm receiving now, if you have the opportunity to Google that, but it is an honor to have received this award, and again, I say thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Let me just simply say that this award to Mr. Tucker is very much deserved. Mr. Tucker is a pillar of the community. He's not, he's involved in every event in town. If you call him, he's there. He's right on there. He don't hesitate. He is truly a soldier in the city of Natchez and a soldier in the United States Army. And again, I say thank you, Ben. And like I said, he's involved in everything around here. He's a business owner, and like I say, if you call him, he's got it on the spot. So thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Davis, you're the one who introduced me many years ago. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We're just getting another picture.
2, 1.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thank you, brother. Thank you, sir. For letting me be part of this. Oh, that's all. Yes, thank you.
Next on our agenda, city business, the Honorable Valencia Hall, Alderwoman, Ward 1, we recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Board of Supervisors appointed Stephanie Anderson to replace Larry Gardner, who retired from the Election Commission. So I'm going to move that Ms. Stephanie Anderson be appointed as the city's representative to the Election Commission in place of Mr. Larry Gardner, who was our representative and resigned.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion?
Called question.
Yes. Alderman Frazier?
He didn't resign, he retired.
Yeah, he retired.
He retired, Larry retired.
Larry,
He
yes.
retired.
And they appointed her in his place.
Okay. All right, and so we have had discussion, called the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have done that for every commission.
Okay,
on the-
thank you,
You're
Alderwoman.
welcome.
Next on our agenda is James Johnston, Community Development. We'll now have your report, Mr. Johnston.
Morning, Mayor and Board.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. All right.
Well, she's with the,
They hired. This was it.
Bill. Not Bill,
Y'all provided a draft of my report this past week. I did make a couple of additions, which I will go over as well. A columbarium walks and landscape project, approval of pay estimate number 6. Staff in concert with landscape architect Tom Eves is requesting approval of pay estimate number 6 totaling $96,334.20 to Dozer LLC for the deliver the columbarium back on October 30th. Continued site prep and other work performed by the contractor to date.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Maroney, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Concord Drainage Improvement Project, change order number 6 at the intersection of Concord and LaSalle. The city's consulting engineer, JKS Engineers, is requesting approval of change order number 6 that reduces the amount of sodding, Bitmus tack coat, 9.5 millimeter asphalt, but increases the amount of Class B reinforced concrete to address a health and safety hazard at the referenced intersection. The change order totals a minus $6,862.80 and reduces the value of the contract from $450,138.40 to $448,6 $74.68, a net savings of $2,243.72.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Maroney, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Natchez Convention Center bid package number 5. Staff in concert with Waycaster Dungan is requesting a motion to seek construction bids for the painting and recarpeting of the second floor of the convention center, including remodeling of bathrooms and the installation of meeting room blinds.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
All.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Natchez City Auditorium bid package number 3. Staff in concert with Waycaster Dungan is requesting a motion to seek bids for the purchase and installation of a total of 2 new 60-ton heating, ventilation, and cooling systems for the main house and stage area of the Natchez City Auditorium.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Maroney, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
All.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Fiscal year 24 Homeland Security Grant, Mississippi Office of Homeland Security. Staff is requesting a motion to work with Chief Arrington on the preparation of a FY24 Homeland Security Grant for the purchase of equipment needed for the emergency response vehicle. The value of the equipment totals $38,014, no local match.
So
What's the
moved.
pleasure of the board? Motion made by Alderman Davis.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Duncan Park Clubhouse quote bids for lounge furniture, more of an FYI. Quote bids were received no later than 10 o'clock a.m. on Thursday, November 7th, 2024, with quote bids being received from Weeks Furniture and Darby Furniture. At the appropriate time, a report will be made to the board.
Thank you. No action then is
No, sir.
necessary. Okay.
Okay.
Next item.
Silver Street Brick Retaining Wall Rehabilitation Project, funding from Delaware Regional Authority and local matching funds. Bids for the above referenced project were received in the city clerk's office until 10:30 a.m. on Thursday, November 7th, 2024. A summary of the bids received are as follows. 2 bids, Thompson Tree and Spraying Services, $560,200, and Wildstone Construction Services, LLC, $694 even. Staff in concert with consulting engineer JKS Engineers is requesting that the bids be rejected because they exceeded the available funds by more than 10%.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
We really have no choice if
Second.
they've exceeded the money. Is that
Second.
correct?
That is
Correct.
correct.
That's the law.
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderman Davis to reject the bids.
Second on
Seconded,
rejection.
I second it.
yes, and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We will call for the question.
All.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay.
I did add a caveat here, which can be seen on the screen above. In addition, staff is requesting a motion to prepare a budget
The
modification.
ayes have it, motion
I'm
carries. All right, Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, we had to settle the vote on the prior motion before we could continue.
My bad.
Yes, sir.
In addition, staff is requesting a motion to prepare a budget modification to the Delta Regional Authority due to the bids received exceeding the construction budget by more than $100,000. Staff would like to request an additional $175,660 from the DRA on a 75-25 split, with the city contributing an additional $43,750, along with our current local match of $127,672. The additional funds requested is the average of the 2 bids received less the available construction funds available. They may have funds available, and so if it's the pleasure of the board, put up the local matching funds. We will see if indeed they will award us on a 75-25 basis like they did originally for the initial grant received.
All right, what's the pleasure
So moved.
of the board? Alderman Davis has made the motion and Alderwoman Hall has seconded the motion. Discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
There is another note here that I have italicized that I can't recall if it was your report or not, but we did receive, originally the bid from Thompson Tree and Spraying Services was rejected and not opened due to a bid irregularity. The contractor's state license number was listed incorrectly on the exterior of the bid. After a second call from the Office of State Auditor and a second AG opinion received, it was determined that if the contractor included a copy of his state license in his bid could be read and taken under advisement. The initial conversation said we could not, we did not, and we gave the bid back to the contractor. Immediately after he left, the OSA called back, apologized for the mistake made, and said if he did include his contractor license in his bid, we could open it. He did, we did, and that's why you see it read here.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right. Thank you so much. Next item.
American Rescue Plan Act, better known as our ARPA monies, Public Law 117-2, March 11, 2021. Pursuant to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, awardees are required by public law to obligate its awarded funds by December 31st, 2024. The city of Natchez was originally awarded $3,593,027.19 in ARPA funds in 2021. Most of the funds received have been expended and or obligated for payroll of emergency services, police and fire, and drainage improvements, Turtle Lane and Morgantown Road, with a balance of unobligated funds as of October 15th, 2024, totaling $873,245. Staff, in concert with City Clerk Megan McKenzie, is requesting a motion to obligate the balance of unobligated ARPA funds totaling $873,245 to offset payroll expenses for the Natchez Fire Department and Natchez Police Department through December 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We'll proceed to a vote.
Call the question.
All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Morgantown Road Drainage and Reconstruction Project Phase 1 and Phase 2, and I will state that right now Phase 2 is the phase under construction right now with contract in place with Dozer LLC. To follow up on the joint resolution, to follow up on the joint City of Natchez, Adams County Board of Supervisors meeting held on July 25th, 2024, to finalize the necessary and required legal documents previously discussed and agreed upon for the above referenced project by joint order of Adams County, prepared an amended joint order for the two boards to improve and repair the heavily traveled, narrow and poorly drained Morgantown Road. In summary, Exhibit number 1, Mississippi Department of Transportation earmarked funds for Phase 1. Adams County received a $2.4 million federal transportation earmark that is being administered by the Mississippi Department of Transportation. The earmark requires a 20% local match, with Adams County providing 12% or $360 of the local match needed, and the county requesting that the city provide 8% or $240 of the local match needed for this earmark. Staff, at the request of Adams County, is requesting a motion to allow the county to undertake the needed improvements and for the city of Natchez to contribute the requested 8% match or $240,000 towards the MDOT earmark.
So moved.
So moved.
We have a motion by
So moved.
Alderwoman Hall and, well, no, Alderman Davis is in his ward dealing with Morgantown Road, and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion. We will call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Exhibit 2, DEQ, Mississippi Municipality and County Water Infrastructure Grant for Phase 2. The City of Natchez received and then modified its original grant award, incorporating funds deobligated from both Silver Street and Turtle Lane drainage improvement projects. The amount of MCWI funds now obligated for this phase of the drainage project totals $1,672,292 $93.82. The amount of city ARPA funds obligated for this phase of the drainage project totals $668,837.53. The amount of county ARPA funds obligated for this phase of the drainage project totals $1,003,000. I got a typo there, sorry. $1,003,000, I think $260.29. Staff is requesting a motion that it has the right to contribute funding for this phase of the project, that it has voted to undertake the work and is contributing funding both for MCWI Ward and local ARPA towards this phase of the drainage project.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Exhibit 3, capital improvement cap loan, which is a new discussion. The Delta Regional Authority grant application applied for by the Board of Supervisors was not awarded. Therefore, the alternative of the to-be-discussed cap loan is now being discussed and under consideration by the board. To address an anticipated shortfall in funds for Phase 1 of this drainage improvement project, an option under consideration is for both the Adams County and the City of Natchez to apply for cap loans from the Mississippi Development Authority. Projected shortfall based on the latest construction estimate is $1.7 million. The county would apply for a loan equal to 60% of the shortfall or principal of $1,020,000 of the debt service, and the city would apply for a loan equal to 40% of the debt service principal of $680,000. The City of Natchez is eligible to annually apply for a cap loan to undertake eligible activities pursuant to program guidelines. The maximum amount that can be applied for is $1.25 million. The term cannot exceed 20 years, and a tax exempt rate is 2%. Staff would recommend, if applying for a cap loan through MDA, to apply for the city's full portion of Phase 1 in the amount of $920, $240 match for the earmark, and $668 in additional funds needed. At the request of Adams County, staff is requesting a motion that the city will apply for a cap loan for the city's portion of funds needed to complete Phase 1 of the project in an amount totaling $920,000.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis. Seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? I'm so excited. This will get us to the conclusion of Morgantown Road. We're so grateful. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for
I
all
have
your
one
hard
more
work on
item.
this. We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Do have one more item that's not in your report. It is on the screen. Martin's Land Emergency Watershed Program, funded by the Natural Resource Conservation Service. Bids for the above referenced erosion project were received in the city clerk's office until 10:00 a.m. this morning, Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. A summary of the bids received are as follows. You see, we did receive 4 bids this morning.
Excuse me, Mr. Johnson, what is that? It's not on this screen. So what is it?
It is on the screen.
It's not on our screen here. I cannot see that screen. Martin?
More mine.
Oh, I can't.
Yes, that's why I'm asking.
We
you, what-
need to
what
get
did
this
it say?
screen repaired.
That's what I just mentioned.
Yes.
It might just be off.
Martin or Martin. Okay.
I bet it's just off.
They were received this morning, and so there wasn't, time, so I did it on the screen. Received this morning until 10:00 a.m. 4 bids were received. You see the low bid to the high bid. Staff,
What?
If you'll just,
Here, bring it to me.
please read us the amounts that it just went out on the screen.
All right, we did receive 4 bids this morning. Anding Construction Services, $90,257.50. Camo Construction, $113,98.75. G. Rayburn Construction, $96,860. Trumac LLC, $129,950. Staff, Mr. Dollar and myself, in concert with consulting engineer Waycaster Dungan, is requesting a motion to accept the low bid of Anding Construction Services totaling $90,257.50.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Frazier, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? And this is within the budgeted amount.
Well within, yes, sir.
Yes. We will call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That was a lot. And a lot of progress there. Thank you so much. Mr. Burke, you are now recognized.
All right, this is the 2024 adjudicated property beautification, kind of realm one, I guess you would call it. Promoting, trimming, and debris removal of already adjudicated properties. In October, staff, not Mr. Johnson, actually Mr. Rutter, reached out for quotes to cut, trim, and remove debris from the following properties: 27 East Oak Street, 52 East Oak Street, 55 East Oak Street, 123 St. Catherine Street, 5 Woodson Hill, 106 Joyner Street, and 119 Monmouth Street. We received 2 quotes from the following providers: Chris Perry. His amount totaled $11,525, and it was for all the above listed. And then Mr. Brian Bird bid $12,300 for all the above except for 55 East Oak Street. I'm requesting that the board accept Chris Perry's quote as the lowest and best quote.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Maroney, seconded by Alderman Davis. Did you just second it? Discussion?
Yes,
Alderwoman.
no one bid on 36 North Commerce Street Extension. So they were not all bid.
I spoke to Mr. Rutter about that. Apparently that address as well as the B Jackson Street were removed
I'm
due to
sorry?
some confusion with the address.
Excuse me?
On the North Commerce Street extension and the I think it's 102 B Jackson. I've modified
That's correct.
that.
Yes, neither one of
Oh.
those were bid.
I can speak directly to B Jackson. I would have to check with Miss Ezel about the North Commerce extension address. But the 102 B Jackson, there was some confusion about the address because the actual lots that were considered were not part of 102 B Jackson Street.
107B.
107. Okay.
Okay.
So those weren't actually put out, those 2 addresses.
And what's the issue with the 36 North Commerce? Because that was not bid either.
I'm not sure. I just know that it was removed. I found out that this morning.
Maybe they did it.
Hopefully they did it. All right, and it's my understanding that once this work is completed, the amounts appropriate to each one, including fees, will be invoiced to the property owners. If they are not paid, they'll then be collected through the Intercept program, through Mississippi Municipal League,
Yes,
and
Yes.
also put on their taxes.
that's correct.
Correct.
One way or another, they will be collected.
Correct.
And moving forward, that is our procedure.
Exactly. Yes. Any further discussion?
Call the question.
Question's been called. We'll proceed to the vote. All in favor of the motion
Oh.
indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
For
Motion.
Chris Perry, the lowest, that we asked for the lowest?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Burke. Mr. Burke. Let me get this set. Go approach. Yes. The map. All right, we will now proceed to the next item, and that is Mr. Justin Dollar, Public Works update.
Morning, Mayor and Board.
Good morning.
Here before you today, just to kind of provide you an update on the recent projects that Public Works has been working on over the last month to month and a half. Prior to the meeting, you all see I've put a packet on each of your desk. As you'll see going through that packet, starts out with kind of the recent or current projects that we have ongoing at this time. There's several of them Mr. Johnson has spoke about and maybe in some past meetings and things of that nature. You'll see on the first page, EWPs. We've got 8 EWPs in total listed here. 3 of them have recently been completed. We've got 2 that are awaiting construction, and 1, of course, is the one just shortly ago that we received bids on and approved for the low bid. We'll flip to the next page. You'll see there other various projects. I've listed all of the different projects, like I said, that we have ongoing at this time. Out beside them, you will see exactly what phase those projects are in. Currently, what's going on with those at this time, whether they've been completed or in construction, waiting to receive bids, those type things. Third page is some other projects, in addition to the ones you see on that particular page. Now, if anybody's got any questions on any particular of these projects, I can certainly be happy to answer any of them for you, short of just going through and listing or naming each and every project that's listed on here.
And Morgantown Road is also underway.
Correct.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor.
it wasn't on here.
Yes.
Mr. Dollar, do you know when the construction will begin on Vine?
On Vine, Vine is included with the Old Washington Road
Yes.
and the Triumph Lane, the church site.
Yes.
We're trying to have the pre-con scheduled for later this week or next week.
Okay, thank you.
So then construction should be ready to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
Alderman Barone.
The bluff wall inspection and maintenance, what does that encompass? What all do they do?
So back over this past, I guess that would be early back in the spring, we went in and did a complete inspection of the wall from Silver Street all the way to Clifton. With that, we went in there and found through that, let me say that through the survey, we actually went in there and listed and put points all the way through so that in the future, when we do this, all those will be listed through it. So it's surveyed off in 100-foot increments. We broke it down into any issues that were found or that needed to be addressed through that. So it's a very extensive report. The mayor has a copy of it. I'd be happy to share a copy of it with you. With that, we went through the report, pulled out anything that we thought that between myself and the engineer felt that needed to be addressed at this moment and put it together because, again, it wasn't a whole lot of items. And put it together and receive quotes on it, and we will be opening those tomorrow.
Okay.
We intend to open those tomorrow. Any other questions in regards to the project before we move forward?
Thank you.
I think that.
Okay. All right. As you continue to flip through, you'll just see some of the other things that we've done throughout the department in regards to tree removal, clean up dead hazardous trees that we removed. You'll see some of the numbers beside them. Those are some of the numbers on those particular streets, how many hazardous trees. Again, this is just some of the highlights. This certainly is not all of the areas that have been addressed over the last month and a half. Same thing for the maintenance and repairs of drains. Similar there, showing some different locations you'll see throughout that. Following page is the same for the potholes and sidewalk repairs that have been completed. And then the last page, you'll see there's a statistical sheet where went in compiled all the different numbers based on the description and the type of work over what has been work order wise, what has been completed over the past month to a month and a half, ending with the 10/15 date. So as you will see, there's been a wide range of locations and things that the department has completed over the last month to month and a half.
Mr. Mayor.
So just wanted to provide you all a little update of the different projects and different things we had going on. Certainly, if anytime anybody's got any questions or anything, more than happy to reach out to me, call the office. We'll be happy to answer any questions and assist in any way possible.
Yes,
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Alderwoman Hall.
yes, Mr. Dollar, on Eastwood Lawn and MLK, is that still being repaired because there's still barricades and
As you're probably aware, you live on that street. We repaired it 3 times in a week and a half. There's some truck over there that does not belong in that area that continues to run over it. I'm not sure exactly which one, but I do know that we repaired it 3 times in less than a 2-week period.
Right.
My opinion is there's a large 18-wheeler in that area. Of course, that's not a designated road for one, and
They
they're
are
turning too
frequenting
sharp.
that area.
And when that big truck and trailer goes
Right.
over it, it's just collapsing.
And I appreciate you all putting the sign back up at the intersection of North Union East and West Woodlawn where it has no trucks. Because someone had taken that down, and thank y'all for
Right.
putting that back up.
And so, no, it is that, but to answer your question, that particular location is on the list to be done. But understand our employee that does our welding and fabricating, those type of things, also runs our sidearm tractor.
Right.
So it's kind of a mix of trying to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
At
I
one
know
time.
exactly what you're talking about. Somebody
But it is on the list to be prepared.
is actually doing that, right? Thank you.
Alderwoman Smith.
Well, thank you for a great detailed report. You might beat James and have a longer report than him.
If James would tell you the truth, I do most of his.
I love it. Look competition.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you
so
all.
much. Great report. We appreciate all you do.
Thank y'all very much.
Enough words can't be said. Next, we have our city official reports from our alderpersons. Alderwoman Hall, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've been involved in a lot of community activities lately. I've been reading at Lawrence, used to be West Schools, and I was a judge for an etiquette program at Global Impact. All those schools are doing marvelous things, and it's important for the public to understand that we need to support all of our schools. We have 3 or actually 4 different school districts now. Global Impact is a charter school, which is a public school. The Natchez Adams School District, Cathedral, and Adams County. So we need to support all 4 of these schools. I was also a judge for the chili cook-off this past weekend and volunteered the last 3 nights of the weekend for Angels on the Bluff. And I do applaud, James is involved in the Angels on the Bluff, the City Cemetery Association as well. And I thank those women for the job that they do and the volunteers that engage in all of this. And I thank them this year, instead of the guests having to relinquish their funds in lieu of inclement weather, they did bring it inside to the community center. And it was well attended. Over 300 people were accommodated inside Saturday night for Angels on the Bluff. So that went very well. And that concludes my report. And again, I will ask you all we have got to do something about these senseless killings that continue to go on. We're not sure what is happening in this community. And in broad daylight, of course, no one knows anything. People are around that house all the time, in that neighborhood all day, outside all day, and know nothing about what happened. So whoever you are, I do ask you to do an examination of conscience, who you or individual or individuals who commit these crimes and who committed that crime yesterday, entering this man's home and killing him. So do an examination of conscience, talk to your families, your counsel, and turn yourselves in, because this has got to stop. These heinous murders have got to stop. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Frazier, your report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, one more thing I have to report on. We did have our public hearing on our Mississippi Home Corporation grant on the 7th. Over 130 people attended. May have been more, but only 130 actually signed in. I think this council chambers was filled with people, wall to wall. I do have to be submitted to the minutes upon your signature, the minutes from that meeting. And the public has until November 21st at 5 p.m. to submit any questions to our city clerk about it. And no, it is not for the citizens in the county of Adams. This is a grant given to the city of Natchez for the citizens within the city limits of Natchez. Several people had contacted Ms. Smith prior to the public hearing who live in the county. They were told this is not a county grant. The county has its own open grant, so please contact your supervisors if you live in the county. Applications are due to Ms. Smith at Southwest Mississippi Planning and Development, November 25th. That is the last day applications will be received. The city of Natchez will not be choosing homeowners for this rehabilitation project. Mississippi Home Corporation will be choosing the applicants. The applications will be scrutinized. So do your due diligence to supply the legal documentation that is asked of you for homes that need to be rehabilitated. We're not constructing homes. We're only rehabilitating homes. Ms. Smith has been receiving applicants since the day after our public hearing, applications. So this is much needed in this community, and we're grateful to Mississippi Home Corporation for awarding us a $577,200 grant for rehabilitation of homes. So please, there were people, again, who attended the meeting, who had contacted Ms. Smith prior to the meeting, who live in the county. She had told them this is not for the county, and they were told that they were told to attend the meeting anyway. So we're sorry you all are giving false information who live in the county. You must contact your supervisors. This is only for the citizens within the city of Natchez.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Hall. We appreciate all of your work and leadership on that. We're
And one
excited
more.
about it.
I'm sorry,
And,
this is a lengthy report. I'm sorry.
A lot of good things.
Miss-
Alderman Frazier?
No, I have one more, Mr. Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alderwoman. Yes.
Mr. Spence in the tennis center has given an update on the tennis rules at the tennis courts. As you all know, we do have pickleball courts at the tennis center at Duncan Park. We now have 34 women are in the pickleball league. It is growing vociferously. We're glad of that. But he did have to make some adjustments to the rules and the policy. So I've given the Board of Aldermen, the attorney, and the mayor a copy of this. And the changes are actually on page, number 2. We've had some issues with people bringing their iPads, iPhones, engaging in social media on the inside the tennis center. And so that is no longer going to be tolerated. Number, no outside storage in the city center, and no doing outside business operations within the tennis center. Courts 5 through 10 and 1 and 2 are for tennis, and courts 3 and 4 are designated pickleball courts. And of course, during high school tennis season, the high schools who utilize Duncan Park for their tennis, Natchez High School and Cathedral, they have priority during the tennis season for those tennis courts. And that was not changed in the contract. They do have priority. And at no time can anyone use the pickleball courts without the tennis director's approval. Any problems out there should be resolved with Mr. Frankie Spence. He is the tennis director. So I'm asking the board to now approve the changes or the additions to this and place these upon the minutes.
Are you making that?
I
form
make the
of a
motion, yes, sir.
Okay, a motion
These
has been
changes.
made to adopt these revised city policies for the tennis courts. Is there a second to the motion?
I just got them, so I'm trying to go through them.
There are only a couple changes, number 2 and 3.
Is there? Do I have a second to the motion?
Second, and Frankie was involved, and
Yes, he was.
I seconded it.
Okay, a motion has been seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion. Any
Call the
discussion? Okay, the question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Alderwoman Hall.
And Colin now has a course in pickleball, and they're utilizing Duncan Park. And I'm going to ask the public to also use North Natchez Park. We have 2 tennis courts there, and no one seems to want to use them. So don't say we don't have enough tennis courts here. They are at Duncan. They're also at North Natchez. So please use them.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Frazier,
Yes, Mr.
you're
Mayor.
recognized.
Let me just say this before I give my report. First, I would just like to say, we just had a nationwide election, and the results that we got from the election Some people wasn't happy with it, but I just like to simply say, we must respect each other. And the results is what the people wanted. We are all one nation under one individual. That is the Constitution that we go by. So I would say, let's respect each other. Let's move forward in life. We are not going to be a nation of hate, bigotry, and whatever. So the Constitution is what we as a country live by. So I just want to say that.
Well said. Well said.
This month has been a very exciting month. This month I received an award from Benny Thompson, Congressman Benny Thompson, which he not only myself, it was about 75 other recipients of the award from Benny Thompson for community minded people in the community of Natchez Adams County. So I want to thank Congressman Thompson and his staff for coming down and giving me an award. So also this month, I want to thank the Natchez branch of the NAACP for putting on the statewide NAACP pre-conference. It was, I would simply say, it was off the chain. It was very informative. The conference, the attendees was very engaged, and they was very good about the food, how good the food was that we served in Natchez. And like I say, the guest speaker came on, they gave some good stuff. And again, I want to thank George Arsenault Matthews, Mr. Lee Ford, and the rest of the staff of the NAACP, and Miss Mildred over there, who's I think the Secretary of Mildred, Treasurer, all their staff. Like I say, the conference was good, and the people really, really enjoyed Natchez. And matter of fact, they want to come back again. So kudos out to the local chapter of the NAACP for having the conference here. Last but not least, I also attended a Veterans Day program at Zion Hill Baptist Church, honoring all the local veterans living and deceased. Mark LaFrance, he was one of the, they honored him along with other veterans. This program that is put on by Zion Hill Baptist Church by the Reverend Joe Pickett and the other church members. This is something that's been going on for quite a while. And I would like to simply say, each year is getting better and better and bigger and bigger. And like I say, the things that they do out there is just amazing how they do this. And I urge not only the veterans, on Veterans Day, just go out there when they have these programs. You will really, really enjoy it. It just shows the patriotism and what we sacrifice as a country. And all these veterans are here. Some of them is old veterans, some young veterans, some just making it. And also I was very inspired by Brother Willie Minor, who sung My Eyes Have Seen the Coming of the Glory of the Lord, the Republic song, which was very, very, I mean, it just brought out the patriotism in people in the way he sung and gave out. So that, like I say, this is a good program. And Mr. Mayor, like I say, they give little stuff out to veterans, honor veterans. If possible, if next year we can donate, like I say, it's getting bigger and bigger, and we want more participants. I don't care what color you are, who you are. Veterans are veterans because we died and sacrificed for the freedom of this country. Amen. That is the end of my report, Mr. Mayor. Amen. God bless America, and God bless the veterans.
Thank you, and God bless you, Alderman Frazier, and thank you for your service. Alderwoman Smith?
No.
I want to yield some of my time, but back to Ms. Howard. Go ahead and finish.
Okay.
I was gonna do it at the end. I was just
No, we
asking you.
I can swing back. I can break back. You got my time.
I know it's in our packet that Mr. Amos James has asked to be reappointed to the school board.
Let me just say this before you do that. It's in our packet, but I don't think we should do that right now because his appointment is not until to March. And what we need to be, as a board, we need to be transparent because we might have other people who want to apply for this position. And I don't think that we should do this right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman Fraser. We'll certainly look into that. We do appreciate Mr. Amos James and his service, though, and his service to our country as a U.S. veteran.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Alderwoman Smith.
Not much. I took care of some specifics before the meeting, but I do want to reiterate the thanks for the volunteers for the events, all of the events and matches. And then specifically wanted to thank our departments that help. I know with chili cook-off and with all of these, you've got, the city clerk's office does, with permitting and all that, public works, law enforcement, fire department. So thank you all. And I do want to point out to Meridian Disposal, again, helped with all the containers for the chili cook-off. They were great. We were hoping with the transition they would still be willing to do that. And they were. So that was very, very good. That's it.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. We have a great city. A lot of great volunteers, and our employees are second to none. Yes, Alderman Fraser.
I'm like Ms. Hall, I just want to add this out. Also at the conference, we had volunteers who was selling T-shirts in reference to the Fellow Troop Monument. They were selling T-shirts, so at that conference too.
Yes.
I just want to mention those people there.
Thank you so much. And that's been a very good thing Mr. Purnell has spearheaded. We appreciate you bringing that up. Yes,
I
Alderwoman
did want to
Smith.
mention one other thing. I went yesterday, or was it Sunday, to the downtown, had their merchant stayed open for Christmas in Natchez, kind of full open house deal. And it was very well attended. So just want to encourage people to shop local when they can. If it's something you can buy local, don't buy it online. And thank all the merchants for doing that. Hopefully they'll be open some more on Sundays during the holidays. So,
Yes, all right. Thank you. Alderwoman Irving.
We're down to reports.
Yes, we
Good
are.
afternoon.
It's good to see you, and you're now recognized.
Okay, I want to begin with recognizing that I did attend the unveiling of the marker at Zion Chapel Church in reference to it's done in barber shop, that marker there that's going to be placed there. I did attend that. It was a very special occasion to recognize the families who had been impacted by it, and also to have our great speaker from Atlanta, Georgia there. He did a great job with sharing a lot of history that some of us did not know to enlighten us on it. It was well received. Also, I attended the NAACP banquet, and it was a very special occasion as well. We had a lot of great presentations from a lot of the speakers that were there, and our very own president did an excellent job. Ms. Joyce Arsenault Mathis with her presentation, welcoming all the members to our city. Okay, and there was something else I had that I wanted to recognize. I see we're doing the cleanup basically all those cleanups are in Ward 4. So thank you. I hope we accepted the best and lowest bid for that. And that's all that I have at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Davis, you're recognized.
All right, yeah. Colleen, we had a very nice Veterans Day ceremony. Our guest speaker was the VP of the college. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran. And also on November 16th, from 9 to 12, Don and Son Barbershop, 231 Martin Luther King Street, Natchez, Mississippi. They're gonna have free prostate and collateral cancer screening, food, music, and fun for the entire family. They're gonna be done by Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center on November the 16th.
This Saturday.
Yes, that ends my report.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to mention, I was by Don's barbershop and saw Don Saturday and saw Alderman Frazier there. And Don informed me that his grandson, Noah Harris, who we all know Noah as the first president, student body president at Harvard University to be an African-American student, is now beginning law school at Harvard. And we are so grateful and proud of Noah's accomplishments. I just wanted to throw that out there. Alderman Maroney.
Thank you. We've got a lot of projects going on around town of various types. I've been checking in on some of them. I was over in Duncan Park yesterday. That pavilion project is finished up there by the playground. It looks pretty nice. There's always people up there, kids playing, families taking their children up to the park and playing. It's nice to see. I was kind of concerned about the amount of trash that was strewn about. I picked it all up, but I'm sure it'll all be back out there in a couple of days. So if anybody's out there is listening that makes use of our public parks, public facilities, please pick up after yourselves, pick up your trash. If you don't mind, pick up some other people's trash if it's not too much trouble. We're all in it together, and we all need to do our part. Dropped by the city auditorium a few weeks ago and looked at that project. It's coming along pretty well. Hopefully, that's going to resolve a lot of problems that we've had with that facility in the past. It looks nice, but the new restrooms in that building are going to be really nice for some of these large events that we have. Restroom facilities that's always been a big issue in that building, and those things are going to be resolved. The convention center's looking good. I know we've still got some more work to do on it, but that's coming along really well, so I'm pleased with it. And I see that they've started some work on the north end of Canal Street of the Broadway depot project down there. So, and of course, the canal and Homachutter Street project has started. We had a groundbreaking yesterday, and I was driving down that way for lunch, and I got to Canal Street, was surprised. I'd forgotten that they were actually going to be starting Monday, and they were well underway, peeling up, grinding up the old asphalt, and they'll be coming in. We had the groundbreaking, and they said they'll have Canal Street done in just a couple of weeks. It'll be finished, and I think they're actually laying some of the new asphalt today on some of the pieces that they milled up yesterday. So we'll be seeing some new asphalt real quickly. So that's pretty nice. So again, anyone that's listening, know that Canal Street and Homachutter Street milling and repaving project is going to be going on. So if you're concerned about traffic, you might want to avoid that area for a couple of weeks and take a different route if you can, if it's convenient. That's it for me.
All right.
Thank you, Alderman. Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I want to go back, and I do apologize for not being here earlier, but I want to address the American Rescue Plan Act.
Yes.
I know that you all have already had your discussion with it, but if I may add my comments as well
Yes,
pertaining to that. I know we have a balance of $835,000. I think that's what I've read in my paperwork. And one of the things that I would say, we wanted to use it for payroll, but consider the following, the executive order. It was for underserved communities. And so I looked at some of the things that we could address, some of the issues that are plaguing our community, such as alcoholism, homelessness, drugs. See, can we reach out to some of those organizations so that we could allocate funding for them? We have NAMI, that is mental health. You know, those are some of the things that we could possibly do. And then the other thing would be the Enrichment Center. We have Mrs. Dorita King Frazier, Mrs. Betty Bell. They have asked for funding as well. They've even had an article in the newspaper where they were saying that, you know, they were hoping that the public and possibly the city could allocate funding for that program as well. And so instead of utilizing all that funding for payroll, that we could use it for those other entities where we'll be addressing issues that are plaguing our community. And some of those issues need to thoroughly be addressed, because with people having those kinds of vices, it enables them not to apply for jobs. We're trying to get our workforce up and going, And those are the things to be considered as well with that. So I'm hoping that we would allocate funding and reach out to those different organizations that could benefit. And when that would be a win-win, because we're helping the citizens that are here in our community. So I'm hoping that could be considered with the balance of the opera funds.
Okay, thank you, Alderwoman.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor?
you. Alderwoman Smith, you've had your hand up, and then I'll come back around.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is the paving going to be concurrent, like after they're finished, Canal, will they start immediately?
They will go immediately to
So we
Homestead.
think about 3 weeks. So right before that, can we please let in the paper and the radio station and our post show the date they're going to start so the businesses and the residents can be prepared?
Certainly. We will
I think
get
we
that
missed
out.
that on Canal, and I've heard a few complaints, but
Mhm.
it's hard for everybody to remember everything.
Oh, we have so much going on.
We have a lot going
I tell
on,
you
but we
what.
will do that for Homestead,
Yes.
and we apologize if there was some confusion. Now,
We'll go now to Alderwoman Hall and then back to Alderman
I
Fraser.
was just gonna say something before you start your report.
Yes.
After Mr. Maroney finishes his report.
I'm finished.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, I had a request for the city to consider a drainage project in the future. That's why I asked him to stay, on Purnell Hill.
Mhm.
So I told that individual I'll bring that up at the
Okay.
board meeting.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
certainly.
Mr.
certainly.
Mayor, can I add to
We
that?
can
as
certainly,
well?
I'm sorry,
Once
I've
you
got to
finish.
recognize Alderman Fraser.
Okay.
He's had his hand up.
Yes, mine is very short. I gave you a report on the NAACP, and I don't want to overlook anyone. And I just want to recognize Mr. Paul Bacon, the past president of the NAACP, sitting out there.
Yes,
I want to thank him too for all the work that he did.
thank you. Always good to see Mr. Bacon. It is. Alderwoman Irving.
And I just want to piggyback on what Alderwoman Hall stated about the project on Purnell Hill. There is several projects, and that was one of the, I think it was 12 altogether when we were looking at drainage issues throughout our community. That's one that's been on the list for over a year now. So it's not a new project. And actually just got an update from Mr. Dollar just a couple of weeks ago where they've gone in and placed a white rock there. They cleaned the back of the area up where that water runs off into that property. And so they've done quite a few things. He just showed me pictures of it just last week, actually, when he and I sit and had a conversation. Show me that. So we're working on it.
Thank you.
We're working on it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, thank you so much. We'll now
Yes,
recognize the city clerk for her report.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Davis.
I'm gonna recuse myself, but I already talked to the city clerk on the claim document minute.
Oh, okay. So you're recusing yourself?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. First item I have is request for approval of the senior center and transit claims docket.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall. Second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Maroney. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
All,
We'll proceed to the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Please ask Alderman Davis that he can return to the meeting.
We get Ben.
Madam Clerk, if you will continue.
Okay, next item is the, just our general docket that has got, it does have fire, special fire fund included. I'm sorry, we did remove the fire portion from general fund, but the special fire was added. So,
Okay.
I don't know if Alderwoman Irving needs to recuse herself in order to continue.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I just want to speak to that.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Everything, I did reach out and I've spoke to several people pertaining to the Attorney General's opinion. But
Yes.
I want to just read this, and I want this to be recorded in the minutes too.
All right.
Each board member is elected to represent the person that live in their prospective wards. Each alderperson has one vote, and nothing more than the city is meant to be governed by 6 alderpersons. No alderperson or collection of alderperson may deny the residents of another ward representation by excluding their duly elected representative, particularly the budget. Otherwise, the constituents of that alderperson's district wards are the victim of taxation without representation because their tax dollars are included and I have no discussion on them, none whatsoever. Taxation without representation is foreign to the concept of democracy, as we all know. I intend for my constituents to be fully represented on all issues coming forward this board, including monetary expenditures, because again, this is Ward 4 tax dollars. As in the past, this includes scrutinizing and asking questions regarding matters that I feel are a concern to me and my constituents. I've been deprived of that. As in the past, I have not participated in matters that I feel may be a conflict for me. I anticipate to do likewise going forward. I will not. So I am going to recuse myself as always from fire, like it always have been. However, I do not plan to be prevented from participating in the affairs of this board based on someone else's misguided notion of what constitutes a conflict. So I'm not going to step out any longer, okay? When it comes to having a discussion on this claims docket, my concerns should be addressed by me, and they should be done openly in the public. They should be done openly in the public. So I'm not going to exclude myself today, only on that fire. When it comes to this claims docket, I should have represent my constituents, because again, these are their tax dollars.
Let the record show.
And I can give them a copy if they like, that this can be recorded in the minutes.
Alderwoman Irving has shared, and also that she has indicated that she will remain present for discussion of the claims docket, recusing herself from the portion that pertains to the fire department.
Only for the purpose of, because we don't have to actually leave the meeting. I just don't vote. And as it's been recorded in previous meetings, that I vote on everything in that docket with the exception of the fire. That's what I've done for 8 years.
Okay.
That's what I've done for 8 years. And that's what I want to remain as of today, because otherwise I'm being deprived of representing the citizens of Ward 4.
Okay.
This does include their tax dollars.
All right. Thank you, Alderwoman Irving.
Thank you.
Mr. Attorney, do you have any comments on the statements made by Alderwoman Irving?
Very briefly, the city is following the Attorney General's opinion, as well as the Constitution of the state of Mississippi and the section of the Mississippi Code regarding exclusion from the meeting by those who may have a conflict. Even more specifically, the city requested and received an ethics opinion from the Mississippi Ethics Commission, and we're following it to the letter, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lazarus. Thank you. Alderwoman Smith?
I just wanted to clear up that we can check and talk about anything, any of our constituents' concerns any day of this week to the city clerk's office. That's I'm not trying to get into discussion, but that's, I just want it to be accurately known that nobody's deprived on this board ever of talking to the clerk's office about expenses.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Alderman Frazier?
Mr. Attorney, have you given her a copy of what you,
We all
Yes,
do
sir.
it.
okay? And I hate to get into discussion. I'm like her. We've been on this board for the longest, and I'm not, like I say, she's been doing it. She's been doing it ever last she stated ever since she's been here. And you know, this just came up in the recent. That's my only concern. I'm kind of concerned. And my thing about the Attorney General is just an opinion. That's my thing in law enforcement. That's all it is someone's opinion. It is not written in stone as a word, but I'm just simply stating, and I'm just gonna get out this conversation for a little while and let y'all.
We will. Thank you, Alderman Frazier. We're going to proceed with a motion in a second. We're going to ask the clerk to just make note in the minutes of what has been discussed and what Alderwoman Irving has stated. And I would encourage the attorney with Alderwoman Irving to have further conversation with the Attorney General's office.
And I have,
for some
and to be
clarification.
honest with you, it was
I
very
would say
discouraging.
perhaps
I-
both of you at the same time with the Attorney General.
Okay, because let me just say this, I have,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor, and I was very discouraged to hear, and these were their words to me. I'm in total agreement. I mean, I couldn't even explain my situation by an attorney. I'm in total agreement. I'm in whatever Mayor Dan Gibson says, I'm in total agreement with it. I said, but I am also, when it's fair and just for everyone, but you haven't even heard my conversation. So beyond that, I thought the conversation ended. It ended because whatever I was going to fill out the proper documentation, he had already given his opinion.
I don't know. Alderwoman Irving,
I'm just
I'll
saying,
have to
Mr. Mayor.
defer to the attorney on these
Okay.
matters.
Oh, I know.
But I will at this time, ask the clerk to enter those, remarks and, statements into the minutes. At this time, I will entertain a motion. This is, I think, the next item on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Yes, so the next item is the docket pertaining to the fire department.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the docket pertaining to the fire department. Motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Alderman Maroney. Discussion. We'll call for the question. The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Next item is the claims docket, just the remainder of the claims docket.
I
Okay.
had some.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Alderwoman Irving, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. On page 2 of the claims docket, I was looking, I see that we have Meridian Waste, Mississippi on the docket twice. It's on the mini docket, which we have not gotten to, and it's also on the docket today. So I didn't know if that was error
One of them was a
or.
late submission of an invoice, which was paid on the mini docket. The one that's on the regular docket is the one that was submitted timely.
Okay. I also want to ask, and I guess this is a question from our attorney. Mr. Attorney, I see that we have a lot of services for government. Do we have any claims that we're paying? Any lawsuits or anything like that we've been involved in that we're paying?
But we do have quite a few lawsuits that the city is involved in. I hadn't looked at that particular report, so I don't know if it includes those.
Well, I was just saying because one of the concerns is Hopper and Bailey. Is that
What page are you on?
I'm on page 6.
Harper and Bailey is actually, used to be Watkins and Eager. That
Oh,
is
so
not for lawsuits. That
Well, that's an
lobbying
average payment. I
contract.
just saw Hopper and Bailey, and I
Yes.
thought that was a
they,
new.
yeah, they changed
Okay.
companies, but it's still the same agreement.
Okay.
We do need to spread on the minutes a new agreement with them. We do,
I will let them know that they need to send the
Very
agreement
cool.
with the new company name.
yes.
Okay, and page 13, I'm questioning here, these bills for offenders? When I look at account number 00100-521, and all of them are, but I see
Which
common
page?
names on page 13, the first 3 accounts. See attention, I don't want to call anyone's name.
I would have to get with the police chief to see if
Okay.
those are inmates.
Okay. Okay. And I did have a question on, but after reading the IAL on page 16, I understand why that increase had came about with the E911 consolidation. After reading the IAL, I see the funding there.
Yes, the new amounts went into effect on October 1st,
Okay,
which were budgeted.
okay. Okay, and then I had one other thing with the page 29. How often do we pay this policy? Is it annually or,
Yes, annually.
Because it seems like it was just there in April. That's my reason for asking. Let me just,
Sometimes we'll have additions if new equipment and different things were purchased, but as far as our liability, our physical damage, we will have additional bills throughout the year
Okay.
for other things. But also transit portion is paid separately. It's a separate policy. So it was paid a few months ago.
okay, all right. And that concludes
Okay.
those are my questions.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Call the question.
Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Next item is request for approval of the November mini claims docket.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We'll call for the
Call.
question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is request for approval of the October 2024 personnel report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? We will call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is request for approval for the mayor to sign the ILA regarding emergency dispatch consolidation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Called.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. That motion carries. Next item.
Next item is request for approval for the mayor to sign the 19th amended interlocal agreement between the city of Natchez and Adams County, Mississippi for fire protection.
What's the
moved.
pleasure of the board?
Second.
Alderman Davis has made the motion, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion? We'll call for a question.
Called.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is request for approval for the mayor to execute the lease documents for the budgeted new vehicles for planning, IT inspections, and the city hall courier.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
yes.
Yes,
So,
Alderwoman.
And I think I'm getting it here. Those vehicles are for IT inspection in City Hall courier. That's what
Yes.
those vehicles
That
are. Okay.
and planning.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Okay, two more. Next one is request for approval of travel for myself and Miss Denise Bell to attend the Winter Clerks Conference in Flowood, December 11th through 13th.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Alderwoman Irving made the motion. Alderman Davis seconded the motion. Discussion. A couple of questions been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Final item is request for approval of travel for the mayor and board of aldermen to attend the MML Midwinter Conference in Jackson, January 14th through the 16th of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Alderwoman Irving and seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
And that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. We now will have the city attorney's report. Mr. Attorney?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Well, now,
Could I just ask a
yes,
question from
yes,
this point on?
Alderwoman Irving?
If we are having discussions with the board of attorney, if there are any lawsuits or anything discussed, because we have those discussions.
Are you asking?
Yeah, I'm
me?
asking the
In
board
my
of attorney.
opinion, those are matters of litigation. They should only be taken up in executive session. Litigation strategy and litigation progress or procedure, in my opinion, are not matters that need to be brought publicly, but matters that qualify for the exception to the Open Meetings Act.
My next question then is, then we need, can you inform the body of those? Because we never have that discussion.
I have no
Okay.
objection to,
Okay,
to reporting to the mayor and the board of aldermen,
okay.
but I do have a problem with airing those in a public.
Well, I understand that. You said litigation. I get that, but I'm just,
I will make note that when we have required action or any information, or the attorney's been good about bringing those to us during executive session. I guess we just haven't had any recently that have reached the point of having to be discussed.
That's correct.
I know we've had a number that have been thrown out and dismissed,
That's
and
correct.
that's always a good thing.
Yes, sir. That's right.
it is.
Mr. Attorney, thank you. I'll move on to my report. We have some maps that we have handed out, and we're going to show above. And if everyone will recall, we have over the last several months been working with the Horn Development Group, Mr. Doug Horn, and his Vice President Greg Waterman, on a very large retail facility that's been proposed for about a 30-acre tract just north of Walmart that the city owns, that the city by law has to sell and split proceeds for the benefit of not only the city, but the Department of Archives and History and also the National Park Service. As the development has proceeded, a very important topic we've been working with is access to the property. And we have been back and forth with the developer, with engineers, and very recently with the assistance of Neil Schaefer. A proposed plan has been discussed with the Mississippi Department of Transportation, in particular our district engineer, Albert White. Mr. White has looked at other alternatives and has determined that this alternative is very likely the safest option for us to consider in providing access to the new development. It would require moving the current intersection, which is an MDOT-owned intersection, from its current location adjacent to Walmart and Natchez High School, 100 feet or so north, so that it can then connect to a new access road that would follow along the north side of the creek. Everyone is aware when you pull into the Walmart parking lot, that creek is to your right. Under this new scenario, the creek would be to your left. MDOT has asked us to go ahead and place on our minutes a motion requesting that this intersection be moved, and then they will take it up at a soon-to-be-held meeting of the commission at MDOT. And so we are asking for your approval of this. No financial commitments are being made at this time. We have had a meeting this morning to bring school officials into the conversation. And we met this morning with Ms. McDonald Green and Mr. Tony Fields, and also Officer Melvin Davis, who oversees safety. As you can see, there will be some changes required for the roadway to Natchez High School, and you have a copy of that. The building you see in the path of the proposed changes is a portable building that is no longer there. It was a trailer related to construction. This overhead picture was taken at the time the new high school was being constructed. And so that is now open space, and this new roadway will not interfere. Also, any of the funding for this project would be coming through the developer, the state, TIF funds. We would see if there was any contribution being made by the city in the future. We don't know that yet, but I can assure you no funds would be expended by the school district in making these changes. And then we will, in short order, also be having a conversation with Walmart to make them, bring them up to date and make sure they are aware of this change. But this will very likely, according to Mr. Doug Horn and information we received just last night, that once this is approved by MDOT, this will move us in the direction we need to be going, and that is to make sure that we can have this very large historic retail development in our city, employing many, many people. So at that time, I'd like to request a motion that is simply to request that MDOT move the existing intersection northward as shown in this drawing, with the understanding that no financial considerations are being committed to at this time. Clearly, that is premature. We don't even know what the total cost of this will be yet. This is the first step, however, in a process. So I'd like to entertain that motion at this time.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Maroney. Thank you. Discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I understand this is gonna be very beneficial to the city, but no community, I'm asking, no community input, should be with this? I mean.
This actually will, this would actually impact upon the community only in a positive way. Granted, whenever you have a new retail development, you're going to have an increase in traffic. But I would also say that their plans allow for an access point from Deborah Drive as well. So it's not like all of the traffic will be coming from this point. Also, I want to point out that the morning traffic that the school experiences will be before the shopping center opens.
Okay.
And we have discussed this morning with the school officials that they may want to consider that there will be an increase in traffic here during the afternoons. They may want to find an option of using that south entrance more in the afternoons. Those are always options available to them. But the city has already entered a contract with the development company to sell this property. I think if we were to get any public input, hopefully it would be that this is exactly what citizens have been wanting to see: more retail and more jobs and more development for the city. Alderwoman Smith?
I just wanted to clarify that the city is not involved with the actual development except for selling the property.
That's
So
right.
We're not paying to develop anything. What we're doing is helping with the infrastructure. For instance, like the county's done with the levee at Bellwood. I mean, they're making that property be able to be used by an industry. So that's similar to what we're doing here.
That's correct.
And no obligations for funds or anything right now.
No.
This is just really to we got to get something going with this. And this is the next step. So.
It's the next step. And we've all known from early on, any development, there will be requests for consideration for tax increment financing. That is a common strategy for economic development that is employed in municipalities all over this country and has been employed in this city. And that would only involve commitments of sales taxes generated by the property, by the development, to offset some expenses to get the development in. I will say we've had a favorable conversation with Bill Cork at Mississippi Development Authority about this project. I believe that this project, the scope of it, being that it would be the largest retail project in Southwest Mississippi in some time, is likely to see some great support at the state level. In fact, Commissioner Charles Busby, has been here in person for meetings and has been very engaged. And we can tell that the Mississippi Department of Transportation is very interested in helping this happen for Natchez. We're very grateful. The next phase, of course, would be for MDOT to approve it. And then we would start looking at what what the money looks like and where all the money's coming from. So there will be more conversations, but this is, as Alderwoman Smith just said, this is that first step.
But-
Any further discussion?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
This is an NDOT road, correct?
Yes, it is. The
So
highway is owned by
why would the city
MDOT.
even have to pay anything towards adjusting this entranceway? It's an MDOT road.
And you make a good point. You raise a very good point. Thank you, Alderwoman Hall. It is also an MDOT-owned intersection. It is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion?
Call for the question.
The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. I will keep you apprised as we move on from here. Also, every year at the holidays, we hire security guards for the bluff. We've been using Mr. Frederick Lane and those services every holiday since I've been mayor. It's my understanding that the Christmas village is going up today on the north end of the bluff. And so with all of the, all of the events planned, when I said the Christmas village, I'm sorry, I meant the IP decorations. The IP decorations are going up on the north end of the bluff. Later this month, the Christmas village, a lot of other things planned. So I would like to, as we've done in years past, get approval to hire 2 private security guards following the same schedule we've been using in years past. Due to a personal friendship and working relationship with Mr. Frederick Lane, let the minutes show Alderman Davis has already told me he was going to recuse himself from this discussion. And so I would like to entertain that motion at this time.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I'm all in with the security guards securing the area, but when I say 2 people and we look at the heavy traffic that's down on Canal Street and Main Street all the way up to Franklin, because we are going to the 200 block of MLK. They will be there. And when I see 2 people and I look at the traffic, I'm thinking to maybe increase the number of employees that would be there, to secure the foot traffic, because that's a lot. You got a lot of, look how busy it is, and it's always busy down at the intersection of Franklin and State Street down there. We got a lot of people that are coming in and out. The traffic flow that's going to be there, and things do happen. If something should happen, we will have adequate amount of people there. So my suggestion is more than 2 employees with that company. That's just my suggestion.
Well, the motion's been made. If you'd like to, she's suggesting an amendment. What is
Yeah,
it?
amendment
It's
to,
worked every year. I'm not gonna amend mine.
I thought it
If it
was
voted
4.
down, you can do another one,
Okay.
but I'm just gonna.
I would say this, we'll pass the motion now, but if you'd like to have some conversation with the police chief and she wants to come to us and request.
And the reason
more-
why I'm saying that, Mayor, is because I've
Then
had
certainly
conversations after, even during the holiday period,
Mhm.
they're not visible enough, where you only have 2 people.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why I said to increase the
Mhm.
traffic flow.
Mhm.
I mean, the amount of officers that
Yes.
would be doing the pacing, because again, where is the bulk of your traffic? We know it's gonna be down on the bluff. We know it's gonna be there. That's where all your attention is. So what's gonna go up Franklin Street?
All
What's
right,
gonna secure those areas? I mean, but we're talking 2 people.
all right. Well, at this time, I think we'll proceed with it.
Call for question.
Well, with the motion as it exists, but we all obviously are always
It's just
open.
safety issue. That's
We're
all I'm
open
saying,
to
you
further
know.
discussion. Thank you, Alderwoman. Well, the question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
All opposed, nay?
Nay.
The
I mean,
ayes.
not nay. Myself. No.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Yes, Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you. Sorry about that. But I was gonna say this to all of you. I texted you about it, that Vicksburg just hired a police, is moving a police officer on a golf cart that would go further downtown. And I think that's something we can consider through the MLK Triangle, through the bluff. Somebody be going a lot all day long, we might not have the issue we had with the gun shooting the other day.
Mhm.
That's a thought, something to talk to the police department about.
Okay.
And that was my
Alright.
concern, because you're gonna need, you said walking.
I think, I
Normally
mean,
they
like,
walk
not even during Christmas, I'm talking about
All right.
all year time.
Yeah, all the
Okay.
time. So
But
let's-
beyond that, but we know the extra traffic is
We'll
gonna come
talk
at
to
that
the-
time.
Okay, y'all.
Mr. Mayor, we need to keep the discussions before we go to a vote.
Yes.
No, this, okay.
We are now
already
back
had
to
a
my
vote. May I
report.
say that I didn't do that then because it wasn't pertaining to that motion.
Okay.
That's why I brought that
Okay.
up afterwards.
Thank you. We will now, the rest of my reports and miscellaneous updates, I think we've about covered just about everything in this report. If I didn't say it, y'all said it. A lot of great events. It was a fantastic weekend, great conference with NAACP in town. So many people were glad to see them, and they told me themselves they felt very welcome. I was very honored to be there every day of the 3-day event. Also, during my report, I'd like to just conclude by saying a lot of positive energy in our city. And I will echo what Alderman Frazier said a moment ago. You know, we may not always agree with the elections. We don't always know how they're going to turn out. But one thing we do know is that we have the right to vote. And if anyone wants to complain about America, they can go elsewhere. I'm so grateful for the freedoms we have in this country. Granted, it's not perfect, but I will say every day that I get to live as an American is truly a blessing. Alderwoman Hall?
It's been brought to my attention that I think the city clerk and the attorney needs to discuss something with us in executive session.
Okay,
Can they bring it to us?
Well, I was asked to bring it up.
okay,
It's a
Um,
personnel matter that should be pretty quick.
okay. Well, this is news to us, but we will entertain it. At this time, I will entertain a motion to go into a closed determination for executive session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion, we'll call the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. We have found we can conduct this closed determination right here. I would like for the city clerk to express just what it is in general terms that we need to discuss and why it warrants an executive session without naming any names, but
Yeah, I was confronted this morning about a personnel issue. This does involve payroll issue. I reached out to the city attorney, and he felt that this was definitely something that the board would need to be involved with. Not something that I have discretion to handle on my own, so.
okay. Mr. Attorney, having discussed this with the city clerk, do
Yes.
you feel it warrants an executive session and meets the definitions as prescribed by Mississippi Code?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this matter involves a personnel matter and compensation matter, which we believe is an exception to the Open Meetings Act and appropriate for executive session.
Okay. With that said, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the closed determination.
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. We are back in regular session. I'll now entertain a motion to go into executive session
So
for the
moved.
reasons so described. Alderman Davis has made the
Second.
motion, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion? We will call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. This will conclude our live broadcast. We will have a report at the conclusion of this executive session. In going, I do want to remind the aldermen